tiles coming along.
I'm all finished, but you should know what I found.
I'm sure it's very interesting, but unless it's really important, I've got other things to worry about. Let's see. If you're any good at fixing things, there's a dumbwaiter in the hallway that's not working.
Where did Abby find those papers that are in the parlor?
She told me they were in her room, which surprised me since it was completely empty when we moved in. Now, the room you're staying in was crammed with furniture. I think most of it was original with the house.
How did you find Charlie?
He just showed up one day. It was really odd. I remember Abby and I were in the basement talking about hiring someone to help us. 20 minutes later, the doorbell rang and there stood Charlie, looking for work.
How do you know Louis?
He stopped by one day to introduce himself. He seemed awfully curious about our property, but he's an antique dealer specializing in the Victorian period. He's been extremely helpful advising us on authentic decor.
How did you meet Abby?
She was the drama coach back in River Heights, and we worked on a couple of plays together. My bid on this house was too low, so she pitched in her savings to help me get the place. If it weren't for Abby, I couldn't have afforded this place.
I can see you're busy. I'll let you go.
Goodbye.
This is Emily.
Hi, Emily. It's Nancy Drew.
Nancy Drew? I haven't heard from you in ages. How's Hannah in River Heights? You're not in San Francisco, are you, my dear?
Actually, I am. I'm helping one of Hannah's friends, Rose Green, renovate this wonderful old Victorian mansion. She wants to open up a bed and breakfast.
Seems to be the trend these days. I'll bet you're staying in the Haight-Ashbury district.
I'm not sure. The place is located on California Lane. 4653, I think is the number.
You know, you're lucky you caught me at home. I've been traveling most of these days, but after that crazy tour of Egypt. By the way, riding a camel is not as easy as it looks. My editor gave me an assignment right here in town. It'll be on the Dragons of San Francisco.
I hope you won't be riding them. What were you doing in Egypt?
Oh, you know, the usual. Pyramids, bazaars, the Sphinx. But what are you up to, Nancy? Why'd you call? Is there anything I can help you out with?
Can you tell me about the Chinese writing system? I seem to come across a lot of Chinese symbols.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me. The Chinese have been an important part of San Francisco history for over 100 years. The symbols are called Hanzi, and each one represents a particular thing, or an idea, or an action. You find them all over on business cards, takeout cartons, artwork.
I found some old papers in the house, plus a page from a phone directory dated 1894.
Oh, that sounds valuable. It's hard to find old documents like that before 1906.
What do you know about the Bandit's Treasure?
Bandit's Treasure? Oh, you mean the play? The Rep did a season where they performed old local plays, including the Bandit's Treasure. I've never seen it, but I hear the music is fantastic.
Have you heard of an antique dealer named Louis Chandler?
Nope, never heard of him.
Have you ever come across hidden rooms in Victorian mansions?
No. But I've read that many houses were only partially rebuilt after the Great Earthquake, closing off damaged rooms from the rest of the house.
Do you know where Yerba Buena town is?
That's what San Francisco was called back during the Spanish colonial period, but no one calls it that anymore.
Tell me about the Spanish and San Francisco.
Oh, you could write a book on that. The Spanish were the first Europeans to settle this area during the 1700s, and it stayed that way until after the Mexican-American War when it was handed over to the United States. It couldn't have happened at a better time because gold was discovered outside the city not more than 2 years later.
With all of that gold around, I'd imagine there's a lot of buried treasure in this town.
Yeah, you'd think that, but I've never heard of any in San Francisco except for Treasure Island out in the bay. But that's named after the book, not some legend.
I should get going. Goodbye, Emily.
I hope we'll talk soon.
It's stuck. It won't fit. It won't fit.
Aha! That's it!
Louis, are you in there?
I'll be right there.
Hey Nancy, I see you survived Abby's seance. Man, that Valdez guy sure sounded creepy.
I guess. Were you down here then? I don't remember seeing you.
Rose told me all about it. So how are things coming along? Anything I can help you out with?
Have you met Louis Chandler? What do you know about him?
He's an antique dealer, I think. I guess he does consulting work for Rose, like on Victorian furnishings and stuff.
Can you tell me more about the accidents?
I'd really rather not talk about that right now.
Have you ever heard of someone named Valdez?
I've heard of a Diego Valdez. He was a wealthy rancher who lived in the 1800s. Yeah, I just read a book on him for my history class.
Was he from San Francisco?
No, he was sort of a hermit and never married. But he was extremely generous. He gave away thousands of dollars.
How do you like working for Abby?
She's not bad. She can be a little weird. I think she gets on Rose's nerves sometimes.
What do you mean?
She always does a disappearing act whenever Rose needs her to do some work. And I think Rose is sort of hatty, you know?
Abby thinks the house is haunted. Do you?
I'm not sure. Let's just say I wouldn't rule it out. But that's Abby's department, not mine.
Had you come across any hidden passageways down here?
You mean like a trapdoor leading to a room with skeletons or something? No, I haven't.
I'll let you get back to your renovation.
Hasta la pasta.
I hope you're convinced now that the spirits are with us. These ghosts are here to stay.
I'm convinced that this house is haunted. I'm just not sure who is responsible.
Isn't it obvious? Senor Valdez and his wife, long-lost soulmates wandering aimlessly in the netherworld, returning to this house to search for each other. I only hope that one day I will be able to reunite them so that they may find peace.
I found out how you rigged the seance table with a projector. That was a pretty good show you gave.
Okay, so I staged part of the seance, but that still doesn't mean this place isn't haunted. Seances were very popular during the Victorian era, and I plan to entertain our guests with them. It'll be a great way to promote the place.
Have you been creating these accidents to help your promotion?
Of course not. I've had nothing to do with these accidents. They cost us both time and money. If you want to find out who's behind the accidents, ask our resident handyman.
Do you mean Charlie?
Ugh, it's clear to me that Charlie's totally responsible for the accidents. Who else could it have been? He's a really nice kid, but he has no idea what he's doing. Unfortunately, Rose doesn't want to fire him. And there's something suspicious about him.
What do you mean?
The other day, I was down in the basement working for over an hour, and suddenly he sneaks up on me. I bet he was down there the whole time, watching me.
Do you know much about Louis? It must be great having your own expert on Victorians.
He owns Chandler Interiors, a very reputable antique store. I'm sure his clients will be quite interested in our bed and breakfast once they hear about our resident ghost.
How long have you known Rose?
A couple of years. She has good business sense, but I think she needs to think more about advertising. Otherwise, we're just like all the other B&Bs in this town, and believe me, there's plenty of them.
I saw those papers in the parlor. Where did you find them?
Right in my room. They're so vintage. I'm going to ask Louis if he can get me some antique frames for them. Rose and I can use the letters in our historical display.
Was there anything about the house in them?
I don't think so. I really didn't go through them that much. I did find this old picture of a woman dressed in men's clothing. I think it was taken in the entryway by the staircase. I sent it to a photographer to have it restored.
Do you have any idea who this woman might be?
No, I don't. Sorry.
I heard someone crying in the hallway. Was that you?
I told you the spirits were interested in you. Was it a woman crying?
Yes, it was. How did you know?
It must be one of our phantom residents.
Do you know who this phantom could be?
Well, it wasn't me crying out there.
I'll let you get back to what you were doing.
Ta-ta for now.